Dr. Gordon MacKinnon, PhD, and I'm currently professor of psychology at Rochester University, and I'm the director of the clinic, and then I have a private practice here at MacKinnon Psychological Associates. Professionally, this has been a kind of a different trip for me. It didn't start out as a direct path, so I'm going to go back to when I was 10 years old. I worked for my grandfather in his print shop. He had an old letter press, printing press, did business cards, wedding invitations, statements, things like that. 4 years later, he passed away. He was also going to help me to get a journeyman's card at one of the major newspapers here in Detroit. So when he passed away, when I was 14, I lost that pursuit. So I tried to figure out what I was going to do. My dad was an artist, and I took an interest in artwork. Graduated from high school. I had won a scholarship for a drafting contest that I won of, some 250 high school students in the Detroit area. After high school, I started working as a draftsman. I was working on Pratt & Whitney aircraft engines and automobiles, that kind of thing. I left from that and went into the field of technical illustration. Basically, my work was for General Motors, and I learned to be a technical artist on the board from scratch. Never had any formal training or that. And so when I did that, when I was doing that, I realized that I was going to have to do this the rest of my life, and that didn't seem appealing to me. So after 3 years, I got my master's degree and left illustration and opened up a practice and started working in psychology that way. In 1987, in August, there was a plane crash here in Detroit. Everyone was killed except for one 4-year-old little girl. And so that got me interested in the area of trauma. I was at my desk where I was working. I had a guy that sat next to me that missed the plane, and he had a lot of survivor guilt over that. Another guy that used to come in once a week to meet with us on our work from a radiator company in New York, he was on the plane. He passed away. Another family, the guy who was one of the supervisors of our group, he was on the plane, and he passed away as well. So I got very interested in airline disasters and did some writing on that, but I got mostly involved in trauma work after that. And so I worked 2 of the post office shootings here in Detroit back in the 90s. And that kind of started my interest in trauma and stress response. So I went from that, finished up my master's degree, went to University of Detroit Mercy to work on my PhD. I felt like I needed more in order to do that. So I went to U of D, got my PhD, and then went out into practice. I started teaching at Rochester University, and I've taught there for 25 years at this point, along with my private practice. So I've worked hard most of my life this way, and my years at Rochester University have been very enriching. The thing that drew me to psychology was working with people in ministry, and I didn't feel like I had enough skills to really be helpful that way. And so that's when I went ahead and got my master's degree in marriage and family therapy. Initially, my plan was to work in ministry and help families and kids and adolescents that way. That didn't work out that way, so I went and pursued the PhD after that while working, doing illustration. So I found in working with people that, I don't know what you want to call it, I've felt a niche to do that and to help people in whatever ways I could. And it was, having gone back to school, I think gave me the needed skills to go ahead and work with people professionally that way. My crowning achievements as I've worked in education, higher education, I achieved 2 awards through the campus. In 2014, I got the Distinguished Faculty Award, and just in April of this year, 2022, I got the Faculty Excellence Award. Those are 2 big achievements for me in education, and my personal achievements include my work at the university, my 35 years as a psychologist, working with numerous people, helping them to achieve their goals and helping them to see the world in a different way. Secondly, was my journey with prostate cancer. I was 52 when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and was told a couple years later that I could come back. When saw a specialist, he said I had about 5 years left to live, and that was over 10 years ago. So it was kind of like that kind of hit me with a pretty big gut punch. What it did for me was opened up the world of working with people with cancer as trauma. And I've worked with a lot of people with trauma, some people still alive, some people not. Tried to work with them and help them to wrap their head around their cancer diagnosis and help their families with that. My journey was such that I had a lot of support from my wife. She helped me immensely, and friends. And so, and then the third one, personal achievement is my family, my daughter and son-in-law. I'm very proud of them. They brought my grandbaby in the world, and unfortunately they live in California, but that's okay. We still see them on FaceTime, and I'm deeply indebted to the support that my family has given me. The way that my family helped me professionally is that they were there and standing behind me when I worked late at night. I was up early in the mornings, and they kind of watched over me, took care of me, supported me. And then in turn, when I got my PhD, my wife went back to get her MSW, so I then supported her. And we've worked together well that way, I think, to make things work. My personal inspirations include my grandfather and my father. With my grandfather, I learned early on the importance of work, hard work. And he had me running a printing press when I was 10 years old. Nobody be letting their 10-year-old kid do that today, So I learned a lot about printing. I learned a lot about working in business. I learned a lot about working with other people. My father, on the other hand, inspired me in terms of my artwork. And I was, like I said, a technical illustrator. I haven't had lots of chances to do art over the years because I was just working so much. I'm getting back into that again. The advice I would give to younger people are 3. 1, work hard and really be ambitious about your career and about your life. Work hard to do that, to achieve your goals. Secondly is giving back. Give back to the community, give back to people. And 3, invest in relationships. You're not going to get through life easily unless you solidify those relationships. If I summarize my life in one word, I think I'd use the word ambition. I've always been ambitious, even when I've come to points where I just wanted to quit. That was not enough for me. I had to go on, I had to move forward, I had to do more. And so use your ambition to get where you want to go. It's not going to just happen for you. The legacy that I hope to leave behind is, it's basically for my family to, kind of remember what I've done and remember my life and what it has meant. The way I'd like to be remembered is that I was a caring and compassionate person, that I listened carefully to what people were saying about their life, helping them to think more openly about their life, think in different ways about their life to help them have a more enriching and pleasant life and relationships.